Good morning, children. Today we will discuss what were the important words to describe people. Okay, we know that according to the basis of their religion or caste and occupation, there was different communities in the society. So here there were several ways to describe people in terms of their work they do. That means the occupation, what type of occupation or work people are doing. Based on that, people were, we know that now also in our community there are barbers, there are washermen, goldsmith, blacksmith, peasants, etc. Different communities are there. Okay, so in the Rigvedic period also there were such kind of divisions based on the occupation people did. The language also they speak, and the place they belong to, their family, their communities and cultural practices based upon these all were divisions. We know that now we divide the people, okay, Marathi people, Bengali people or Gujarati or Kashmiri, like that. Based on the language we divide the people here. Okay, so describing the people based on the occupation, their cultural practices, okay. So we know that Naga who belong to the Nagaland, their cultural practice is different. So based on these all their family styles, also the place they belong to, we say that we describe the people South Indians, North Indians, Central Indians, Eastern and Western Indians, like that. So all these divisions were also existed during the Rigvedic period. So here there were two main groups described in the terms of their work. One was the priest group, the community who were engaged in the worshipping of the temple and taking care of the temple, okay, activities. They were especially known as Brahmins. As per their caste, they were Brahmins or the priest group. Other one was the they could perform various rituals in the temples. They are the priest groups or the Brahmins. Other groups were the Rajas, which we can call kings. The group of kings, so they belong to the Kshatriya. Right now we can say in that period they called the warrior groups or the Rajas or royal families. They were belonging to the Kshatriya community, and the priests who belonged to the Brahmin community. So these Rajas were not like the Rajas which we know that later on the kings we know, not like that. There were many Rajas in their community. Okay, Rajas were many people. Also, they did not have a capital city or palaces or army, and even they did not succeed automatically after the death of a king. We know later in the medieval periods, after the death of a king, his son or a daughter or his children, anyone becomes the next king or the ruler. But it was not like these Rajas were different in the Rigvedic period. We know two other words used to describe the people or the community as a whole. Okay, the whole community was together known as. Okay, here we know that within the community there were two groups, major two groups, not only two, major two groups. One was known as the priest, the other one was known as the king or the Rajas. Okay, their families. Now here again coming the whole community, whole people together are known as in other two words also. One word is used Jana, which means we still use this word in Hindi in and other languages also, Jana, and another was known as Vish. So two important words, Jana and Vish. Vish comes from Vaishyas. We know that Vaishyas are the community who were engaged in agriculture and other activities. So several Vish means a group of people or a community. Several Vish or Jana are mentioned by their names. Okay, one community we can give as particular names. We can say when we are going through the Puranas and Rig Vedas also, we can find out some particular names are given to these Janas or the community, Puru community or the Vish and the Bharata community or Bharata Jana or the Yadu Jana. Okay, these are all we can say Rajput. Later on when we come to study the medieval periods, Rajputs, Jats, Satnamis, etc. Like that. there were also existed such kind of communities. Okay, sometimes people also compose hymns described themselves as Aryas. Okay, so we know that in the Rigvedic period, the people who composed hymns for in praise of praising God and goddesses. We know that those people who composed the hymns or the suktas in the Rigveda, they themselves considered as Aryas. They were named as Aryas. Also, they were given the label as Aryas themselves. Some other people, other community who were the opponents of the Aryas, they were known as Dasas or Dasyos. Okay, so two major communities again existed there. One who composed the Rig Veda or other Vedas, they were known as Aryas. The other communities were known as Dasas or the Dasyos. So these were the people or the Aryas. They performed sacrifices and probably spoke different languages also. Okay, these two communities also spoke different languages. Dasas or Dasyos used to speak in other languages, and Aryas, they also performed sacrifices and offering to God, etc. Okay, here later the term Dasa and its feminine name is Dasi, Dasa and Dasi, okay, came to mean as slaves. We know that servants or slaves, servants and slaves are different. We know slaves who did not have any freedom, slaves were under the control of the master. Okay, they had to do whatever the master says. Okay, honor of the slave says, they had to obey. Slaves were women and men also often captured in the war. How they got the slaves? When they are going for the war, they capture some people from the opposite community or the other villages or community. Those people who were captured in the war were made dasas or the slaves. Okay, so while the Rigveda was being composed in the northwestern subcontinent, where these Rigvedas were composed not in the central India or South India or the East India, northwestern part of the subcontinent. Okay, in the northwestern part of the subcontinent, we know that this is belonging to the regions of Pakistan and India's Rajasthan, and these regions where the Indus Valley civilizations existed, we studied earlier class. So there were also other developments all over these regions, not only the composing of the Vedas, many developments also took place in different parts of the Indian subcontinent. We will study more about this in the next class.